The resilient Jenkins now officially have a GFM up and running. They have put in the description that it's to secure legal assistance and better their children's lives. Stephanie wrote in the bio that they were really hesitant about even starting this GFM, but they feel like they are just as deserving of legal support on their side as Desiree is on hers. They said that they want to maintain the safety and placement of a kiddo who is perfectly happy with his family. And please be assured that every single penny that is received, they will provide a receipt for. Stephanie went on to say in her FB post that it was humbling to even make this GFM. She said that they wanted to make one while they were in the apartment, but they knew that they had to get back up on their feet by themselves, and it just isn't feasible. She said Drew's going back to work, and she makes just as much at home as a content creator as she would at work, which is probably true. However, if they had both been working from the very get-go, they probably wouldn't be in this situation. I did see on their live today that Drew said that he didn't work because of a mental health break. It was some heart conditions and a seizure, and then it was because he didn't want to, because he didn't like people telling him what to do, and then his autism, and now it's his mental health.
Ooh, Drew Jenkins is actually cheating on Stephanie, and it's come out that the side piece account, or his side piece, basically gave information to Drew's baby mama, Desiree, in the form of like text messages, screenshots, screen recordings, and basically his mistress, Drew Jenkins' mistress, provided the phone number that she's had this exchange with, and guess whose number it is? It is the same number that Desiree Deshawn's mom has for Drew Jenkins. So yes, he is having an affair.
The drama surrounding Stephanie and Drew Jenkins is a masterclass in how to turn a bad situation into a full-blown spectacle. Picture this: a couple desperate to convince the world their relationship is rock solid, only to unravel in front of millions. Stephanie, with her carefully curated online persona, took to the internet to squash rumors about Drew's supposed infidelity. She painted a picture of a loyal partner who picks up her calls on the first ring and races home at her beck and call no matter where he is. But let's not kid ourselves. Her defense was less about love and more about damage control. The whole thing reeks of a performance, one that's been rehearsed to death but still falls flat. You see, the trouble started when a TikTok account, ominously named Drew's Side Piece, started spilling tea that had everyone hooked. Screenshots of flirty texts, suggestive photos, and even voice notes painted Drew as anything but the devoted family man Stephanie wants us to believe he is. The account's posts were like breadcrumbs, leading to a truth nobody could ignore, and the internet was eating it up. When Stephanie and Drew finally dropped their "We're Fine" video, it was supposed to be their big moment to shut down the haters. Instead, it was a cringeworthy display of denial. Drew, who couldn't stop talking about his communication struggles and self-diagnosed sensory issues, suddenly clammed up when Stephanie lobbed the cheating question his way. His silence was louder than any confession. His body language screamed guilt. Fidgeting hands, averted eyes, a face tighter than a drum. Stephanie, ever the martyr, jumped in to fill the void, insisting there's no affair, no scandal, nothing to see here. But her words felt hollow, like she was trying to convince herself as much as her audience.
Yeah, do you want to address the... He's not cheating on me. That stuff is ridiculous. And whenever he's out doing this gig work stuff, he'll answer the phone the first time I call. He will come home if I'm like, hey, I need you to come home. And he's back within whatever distance he's away from me. So there's none of this, like... There's just... Whatever you guys are trolling, you're trolling there.
This entire situation is honestly starting to become very pathetic, for lack of better terms. Girl, stand up. Get the fuck up. Honestly, I'm starting to feel a little bit bad because there has to be a level, such a low level of self-worth and self-confidence, and it's honestly hard to watch. Can't nobody be this male-centered that they genuinely just refuse to accept it for what it is. I don't understand it. You can say it's fake. You can say it's all planned out and they're just trying to drive more views to their channel. But if you really seriously, like, look at her body language. Listen to the tone of her voice when she's speaking. The girl is gonna cry almost every second. It's like, I want to keep up with the story, keep updating about the story, but it's just like pathetic at this point, and I have no desire to share any of that. Honestly, once people figure out what's gonna happen to Deshaun, I really feel like the majority of people are going to stop keeping up with it. I think she knows that. And Steph, I'm telling you, you need to get your ducks in a row now so you can be ready to get the fuck up and go. That's all I'm saying.
The video started as a united front, but quickly turned into Stephanie's solo act, with her scrambling to prop up a narrative that was crumbling faster than her credibility. Let's talk about Stephanie for a second. She's built her brand on being relatable, but this was a calculated move to salvage her image, and it backfired spectacularly. The way she brushed off the allegations as ridiculous while barely hiding her frustration showed she's more concerned with her follower count than addressing the real cracks in her relationship. Drew's not off the hook either. His whole "I'm overwhelmed, I wear gaming headsets to cope" excuse feels like a convenient way to dodge accountability, and comparing his behavior to their toddlers, that's a low blow, even for him. The truth is, this video didn't clear the air. It confirmed what we all suspected. Something's rotten in the Jenkins household. The energy shifted the moment Stephanie realized she was carrying the weight of their facade alone, and you could feel the desperation seeping through the screen. It's almost sad, but honestly, when you play the perfect couple card online, you've got to expect the trolls to come knocking. So, what's the moral here? If you're going to air your dirty laundry, maybe make sure it's actually clean first. Stick around to the end for more on this mess. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, unless you're too busy dodging your own relationship drama.
I just have a couple thoughts about this whole Brazilian Jenkins side piece situation. She did respond to it. Let me move myself out the way. Screenshot it real quick. Okay, boom. So, first of all, she's blaming Desiree. How would this benefit Desiree in court? What thought process was she going through that would prompt her to assume that this was Desiree? And not only that, to say something as if someone has went too far when your man is blocking visitations and going against court orders. You can't throw stones in a glass house. Okay, let's start there. My second thought, what went on in Drew's head that was like, oh yeah, someone wants me. No one's gonna leak this. No one's gonna expose this. Let me just fully invest myself into this. No one's gonna know. Sir, y'all are literally a viral sensation right now, trending on every social media platform. I was on YouTube the other day. Do you know that there are like so many YouTube channels dedicated to them as well? What thought went through his head that was like, this is not a setup? Like, how did he not clearly see from 100,000 miles away that this was not a setup? How did he fall for this? I can't laugh at the situation. I will never be giddy about somebody being cheated on. That shit hurts. I don't care. I will never come on here and make fun of the girl for being cheated on, but it's like, it gets to a point that I just, anyway.
Stephanie Jenkins found herself in the unenviable position of playing cleanup crew for a mess she didn't create, or so she'd like us to think. With Drew sitting beside her, mute as a statue, she doubled down on her narrative that he's the picture of devotion. According to her, Drew's always at her beck and call, answering her phone calls instantly, no matter how chaotic his gig work gets. She spun a tale of a man who'd drop everything. His job, his plans, his entire existence, to rush back to their motel room if she so much as whispered his name. To Stephanie, this was ironclad proof that the cheating rumors were nothing but vicious lies spread by internet trolls. But let's not be naive. Her insistence felt more like a script she was reading from than a heartfelt defense. Her voice carried a sharpness, but her eyes betrayed a bone-deep weariness, the kind that comes from carrying the weight of a crumbling relationship in front of a judgmental audience. She claimed she could lay out every detail to debunk the rumors, but conveniently, she didn't. Instead, she leaned on vague assurances, as if saying "trust me" would make the screenshots and voice notes from that TikTok account vanish into thin air. And Drew? He offered nothing. Not a single syllable to back her up, no half-hearted denial, Not even a nod that carried conviction. He just sat there, barely glancing at the camera, his silence screaming louder than any confession could.
We didn't want to have to ask for handouts, but at this point, we need some freaking help.
Well, y'all, she wasn't lying. She went ahead and put up a GFM. If content creation is not paying the bills, then you need, as an able-bodied adult, to go get a job like the rest of us. Your king, your ever-faithful king, can work 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week, whatever it takes to get you guys out of that hotel, right? Because that's what you sign up for when you become a parent, you know? And if you go and read the description on the fundraiser, what really gets me is the fact that she again alludes to Desiree not being a safe place to be, which I don't really know how well that's going to go over with the judge, honestly. And then she puts in there that this is to retain legal counsel like the other side has, which that's what it's all about. She's just salty that Des got all the support from the internet that she was so desperate for, and then for the betterment of her children. And then puts in there that she'll be sure to show thorough receipts and they have no plans on misusing any of the funds gained. I'm sorry, does that not come off a little bit weird? Because I feel like if you were a normal person who didn't make an entire living off of possibly misleading people, you wouldn't have to put that in there. I don't know. This is obviously just for educational and informative purposes. This is all alleged. I don't know anything. But it definitely could be under her maiden name, if anybody wanted to go look.
When he finally spoke, it wasn't to address the elephant in the room. No, Drew decided it was the perfect moment to pivot to a completely irrelevant rumor about his TikTok ambitions. He droned on about how he's not chasing 10,000 followers to ditch his job, but simply wants to build another income stream to get them out of their current situation. It was like watching someone rearrange deck chairs on the Titanic. The internet was ablaze with accusations of infidelity, and here he was, rambling about his side hustle dreams. If that's not a deliberate dodge, I don't know what is. Why not just look into the camera and say, I didn't cheat? Why leave Stephanie to flounder alone, trying to convince the world, and maybe herself, that their relationship is fine? His avoidance was a glaring red flag, and the viewers felt it in their bones. Stephanie kept circling back to her claim that Drew always picks up her calls, but that story doesn't even hold up against her own past statements. In her live videos, she's admitted to giving Drew space while he's working, saying he sometimes takes hours to respond. So, which version are we supposed to believe? Is he the ever-attentive partner, or is he conveniently unavailable when it suits him?
Stephanie confirmed the cheating allegations and goes to say that this has been going on for a while and that he talks to female friends and stuff like that on the games, which she said is considered still cheating. And then she goes to go on Facebook and write this big post blaming Arlita and Desiree, saying that this is all their fault, and basically saying that trying to make it to where he cannot regain custody. Now, with all that being said, there has been leaked text messages, which has been confirmed. It is Drew's number. And on my last video, I told y'all about how they were texting and he was saying she had nice coconuts. Well, now the conversation has went as far as, do you want more kids? And my tubes are tied, so you wouldn't have to worry about it, if you know what I mean. And then he said that he saved her picture somewhere. It was like blurred out, but he saved that picture somewhere. Like, I just got chills. I'm not gonna lie. Stephanie, are you that delulu? Or it just not clicking? I'm not getting it, because what would have done it for me is being gone all day and all night and having no job. I think that would have been my straw right there. But now it all makes sense while she's been out trying to work and better herself and clean herself up and go outside and work out. But honey, if his attention is already gone and on something else and it's that serious, it ain't coming back. It ain't coming back, honey. But if y'all have heard anything recent or any other updates, please feel free to tag me below, drop comments. Because it's like, I really want to feel bad for her, but then it's like, it's all over the place. It's embarrassing. And then the fact that you're just okay with it, you address the situations and you delete posts. Like, he would have been up, out, gone. But like I said, y'all, I don't know. It's a whole lot of mess, it seems like. But let me know y'all's thoughts below.
And then there's Stephanie's own moral code, which she's been vocal about in the past. She's made it crystal clear that she considers even private consumption of explicit content a betrayal, a violation of emotional loyalty. So even if Drew's not sneaking around in the physical sense, her own definition of cheating might already have him in the hot seat. The contradictions pile up, and her desperate attempt to control the narrative only makes the cracks in their story more obvious. Honestly, watching Stephanie try to hold this mess together while Drew sits there like a bystander in his own drama is exhausting. It's a stark reminder that when you build your life on public validation, every misstep gets magnified. And in this case, the spotlight's showing us a couple who can't even agree on their own truth.
For Stephanie Jenkins, is this her crying or being so exhausted? Or is she on some kind of rugs? Because why are her eyes always looking so red, so bloodshot? Let's go ahead and get into it. Go ahead and follow me. I post a lot of videos like this. And again, I don't understand why her eyes are constantly red. She doesn't have a job. Now you're going to say, well, she has 5 kids. Okay, a lot of people have kids. A lot of people have a lot of kids, myself included. But, I mean, my eyes don't look red, and I'm sure a lot of you have not red eyes. But again, the only difference between me and her, well, I shouldn't say the only because there are several, and possibly you too, is the fact that I don't do rugs on the reg. Like, I'm not constantly doing different types of recreational activities.
Stephanie has always been vocal about her strict definition of loyalty, and it's not just about physical betrayal. For her, cheating is any act that siphons off emotional or sexual intimacy from their relationship and redirects it elsewhere, especially without her consent. It's a principle she's preached with conviction in her past videos, drawing a hard line in the sand. So how then does she reconcile the allegations of Drew sending flirty, explicit messages to another woman? We're talking suggestive texts, emotionally charged exchanges, and possibly even steamy conversations. All while Stephanie's at home, juggling their kids and trying to keep their chaotic life together. By her own standards, this should be a clear violation, a betrayal that cuts deep. Yet, in that now infamous video, she brushes it off, clinging to the narrative that Drew's innocent. The contradiction isn't just glaring, it's practically screaming. This isn't a simple misunderstanding. It's a textbook case of cognitive dissonance. Stephanie's trapped in a mental tug of war, holding on to 2 opposing truths: Drew's loyalty and the damning evidence piling up against him. Those screenshots, voice notes, and timestamps from the Drew's side piece TikTok account aren't just rumors. They're a meticulously curated case that paints a vivid picture of infidelity.
You're only paying $5.99 a month. I'm not going to respond to 8 comments a day or respond to a bunch of, I have that sub-only space on TikTok. I'm going to respond to 1 a week, okay? And if I feel like you're just being ridiculous with the requests that you're coming at me with, I don't feel like I need to respond to that for $5.99 a month. And if you feel like you're not satisfied with that, you're more than welcome to leave. That's on you. That's perfectly fine. What other thing was I gonna say? I think I mentioned I was gonna not put out probably more than 1 video a week. I think that's more than enough. If I can, I'll do two a week. But definitely 1 a week, subscriber only. And then 1 live a week. Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. is gonna be TikTok. I'm gonna switch to about 6 p.m. Saturday evening for Facebook. I'm still trying to figure out a time to do lives on Instagram and YouTube. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to put out there. I feel I should clarify this. I'm saying I'll respond to 1 comment or 1 direct message per person each week. So I'm not gonna, there's been people who will post like 8 questions on the sub-only space. I'm gonna respond to 1 of your questions. I hope that clarifies that a little bit better.
But accepting that reality would mean dismantling the fragile life she's built, confronting the pain she's been dodging, and admitting she's been tolerating more than she should. Instead, she's twisting her own rules, reshaping her beliefs to fit a version of the story that doesn't leave her shattered. It's not just denial, it's self-gaslighting, a desperate attempt to mold an ugly truth into something she can live with. And while she's performing these mental gymnastics, Drew's silence is like a lead weight in the room. It's not just quiet, it's deliberate, almost cruel. His refusal to speak, to offer even a flimsy defense, says more than any words could. His fidgeting, his averted gaze, his complete withdrawal, it's a confession in itself, and everyone watching can feel it. Yet Stephanie keeps building her fortress of justifications, insisting that Drew's reliability, picking up her calls, coming home when she asks, is proof of his innocence. But even that story crumbles under scrutiny. She's admitted in past live videos that Drew can take hours to respond when he's working, contradicting her claim of instant availability. So, what's the truth? Is he the doting partner always at her side, or is he slipping through the cracks of her trust?
We all knew the GoFundMe was coming one day, but I can honestly say that I didn't think they would use legal fees for the reason for their GoFundMe. So you heard that correctly. Stephanie went over to the other social media platform and posted a GoFundMe. It says it's humbling to make this post and reach out for help with all the negativity and lies around about us. We are hesitant to have faith that we would receive any kind of support. We want to have faith in our community. We see the strength and dedication our community has behind their support, and we can't thank y'all enough. We don't expect handouts, and I truly hope the community can see just how long we tried to go without making this GoFundMe. We discussed opening a GoFundMe while we were still in the apartment, but we wanted to get our lives back on track without asking for help. Sometimes that's just not the reasonable approach. Well, exactly, because you didn't get your life back on track. We don't expect y'all to help us with funding our housing journey. We need to secure legal assistance, and that is what we are raising funds for. So it wasn't important to get the kids a stable home, but it is important to ensure that a little boy doesn't see his mother. Something that the court legally said they needed to do, and they have not followed that court order.
Deep down, she knows the answer, but admitting it would mean facing a reality she's not ready for. Meanwhile, the woman behind the Drew's side piece account isn't slowing down. Her approach is relentless, almost surgical, as she drops new evidence daily like a prosecutor building a case. Screenshots, timestamps, old messages, and photos are carefully woven together to tell a story that's hard to dismiss. She doesn't just post random snippets. She's strategic, pairing clips from Stephanie's own live video where she's fiercely defending Drew with alleged private text between him and this other woman. One particularly brutal message, supposedly from Drew, reveals he prefers texting when he's not at the motel because Stephanie has a habit of snooping through his phone. It's a gut punch, exposing not just his potential betrayal, but also the lack of trust, already festering between them. The internet's eating it up, and honestly, it's hard to look away. Stephanie's out here fighting a losing battle, and Drew's just letting her. It's not just a scandal, it's a slow-motion train wreck. And we're all watching her try to piece together a puzzle that doesn't fit.
In the GoFundMe, it says a lot of the same things, but it does say we need our supporters now more than ever to help us ensure we can maintain the safety and placement of a kiddo who was and is perfectly happy with his family. And they've already got $90. Now, there is a lot of controversy with the Resilient Jenkins right now because there's supposedly a side piece. I personally think something seems really fishy about it all. I, at first, thought it was Stephanie and Drew doing it. Could it potentially be somebody else? I guess. But to me, like, none of that matters. None of that matters. At the very end of it, it's always been about the kids. And the fact that this woman can sit here and be like, oh, I wasn't going to ask for help when we were getting ready to be kicked out of our home, but I will ask now to make sure that Drew's son doesn't see his mother because my kids don't get to see their other parent. And I just don't think that's fair because ultimately that's what I think it comes down to. Drew and Stephanie admitted on a live that if it wasn't for Stephanie, he would have given his son back to his mother.
That single chilling revelation from the Drew's side piece account, that Drew preferred texting his alleged mistress away from the motel to avoid Stephanie's phone checks, shifted the entire narrative like a plot twist nobody saw coming. It wasn't just a casual comment. It painted a portrait of a man who wasn't just hiding something, but orchestrating his deception with cold, calculated precision. This wasn't a fleeting moment of weakness or a misunderstanding blown out of proportion. No, this was a deliberate pattern, a trail of digital breadcrumbs that led straight to betrayal. The TikTok account wasn't some bored troll tossing out baseless gossip for likes. It was a methodical expose backed by evidence so specific it was impossible to dismiss. Screenshots, timestamps, and messages laid out a story of emotional infidelity that cut deeper than any physical affair could. And yet, there was Stephanie, still perched in front of the camera, defending Drew with the ferocity of someone who staked their entire identity on a sinking ship. She insisted there was no physical cheating, clinging to the flimsy excuse that maybe Drew never met this other woman in person. Perhaps, she rationalized, it was just words, harmless venting, or a bid for attention. But those messages told a different story. They weren't casual or accidental, they were intimate, loaded with pet names and flirtatious banter that crossed every line a committed partner should hold sacred. Even if Drew's body never left Stephanie's side, his mind was clearly elsewhere, entangled in conversations that were raw, suggestive, and utterly inappropriate.
So what is this all about? None of this makes sense. Again, I think there's a lot of noise with this whole potential side piece and him cheating. We know he's not a great guy, so that is not surprising. And the fact that they finally set up a GoFundMe to ensure that his son does not see his other parent, to live a happier, healthier life, proves to me they don't care. They are going to stay in that goddamn motel for as long as humanly possible. They haven't done anything to make changes to their housing situation like she keeps claiming they have, and they won't be. They want to make sure that those kids stay within their care for a reason, and I want to know that reason. There is something really sinister, in my opinion, about why she does not want that little boy to be back in his mother's care. And I'm not just saying her, because I think this loser up here, he does not give a damn. He does not give a damn about any of it. If he did, he would have been working this entire time. So the last thing I will say is I would encourage people to really sit and think about what you're donating to. They are not transparent. They are not going to tell you the truth. And that money is going to go into all kinds of different places.
By any measure, especially Stephanie's own strict definition of loyalty, this was a betrayal, plain and simple. At best, it was emotional infidelity. At worst, a premeditated stab at the trust she'd poured into their relationship. And through it all, Drew's silence was deafening. He didn't utter a single word to address the accusations, not to confirm or deny, not to take accountability, not even to acknowledge Stephanie's name in his defense. His refusal to engage wasn't just passive, it was a statement, a void that spoke volumes about his guilt. The aftermath of this mess wasn't just a private heartbreak, it was a public humiliation, played out on a digital stage for millions to dissect. Watching Stephanie fight to salvage their reputation while Drew sat beside her, as unresponsive as a mannequin, was nothing short of excruciating. It wasn't just awkward, it stirred a visceral discomfort. The kind that makes you want to turn away, but keeps you glued to the screen because it's unfolding in real time. Her voice trembled with a mix of conviction and desperation, like she was trying to convince herself as much as her audience. She was battling alone, pouring every ounce of energy into defending a man who couldn't even muster the decency to look at the camera. Drew's lack of response, no eye contact, no reassuring gesture, no words of support, was more than silence. It was abandonment. Stephanie was out there doing emotional cartwheels, trying to prop up a facade that was crumbling under the weight of truth, while Drew sat there, a silent spectator in his own scandal. It's hard to watch someone fight so hard for a narrative that's already been torn apart by evidence, especially when the person they're defending offers nothing but a blank stare. The whole spectacle is a stark reminder of what happens when you build a life on public approval. Every crack in the foundation becomes a headline, and Stephanie's learning that the hard way.
They don't work. They don't do anything to support their children, and that is why they're in the predicament that they are. And again, they are doing nothing to get these children out of this predicament. This is not your money going to some good cause. A good cause would have been earlier on, before they got evicted, coming up with a GoFundMe. Or maybe instead of getting all those Christmas gifts last year, they should have set a GoFundMe up so that they could have had a down payment on a rental property or a house to have fit their entire family, so then they wouldn't have been evicted.
The void left by Drew's silence wasn't just a gap in the conversation, it was a gaping wound that swallowed every shred of dignity Stephanie was fighting to preserve. Watching her pour her heart into defending a man who wouldn't even meet her halfway was nothing short of heartbreaking, especially for anyone who's ever felt the sting of giving everything to someone who gives nothing back. It's that gut-wrenching moment when you realize you're on a sinking ship, bailing water with a bucket full of holes, while the person who caused the leak just watches you drown. Stephanie's performance in that video wasn't just awkward, it was a soul-crushing display of loyalty twisted into self-destruction. Drew didn't bother to deny the cheating allegations. He didn't offer a single word to validate her efforts or affirm their relationship. There was no "I love you," no gesture to show he valued what they had. He didn't fight for her, didn't flinch, didn't even acknowledge the storm raging around them. His silence wasn't neutral. It was a loud, piercing declaration of apathy, guilt, and disrespect. It was the kind of silence that doesn't just sit there, it screams, leaving no doubt that he's checked out emotionally, leaving Stephanie to carry the weight of their crumbling narrative alone. The cruelty of it lies in how he let her unravel publicly, while he sat there like a bystander to his own scandal. And then, in a moment that felt almost surreal, Drew pivoted to talk about his career plans, as if the accusations of infidelity were just background noise. He rambled about returning to grocery retail, painting it as a nostalgic homecoming to a job he knows like the back of his head.
Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of cyberbullying that's... People are weird. Yeah. People are weird with multiple accounts and having no life, and just that's what they do. Is they sit behind a computer screen and make multiple accounts and multiple identities and fishtail this and fishtail that to this, and have like the cyberbullying is crazy.
You have way too much time on your hands, because I figured that they can do all this cyberbullying behind these other accounts and these other people making these other accounts for them, because they don't want to be seen as the party that's directly bullying, even though that's the one behind it. So I'm like, you know what, they're going to be sneaky with that if I even call it out. Let me go ahead and take my post down. I took that crap down 5-6 minutes after posting, maybe not even that long. This person is that trolly that they are sitting there waiting for me to make some kind of freaking flaw that they can just jump on and take and do with it what they will. How is nobody seeing what this is about? I've been in this kiddo's life because I wanted to from the freaking first day I met that child. There was no question about it. I didn't try to pop up to be relevant on social media. And people not questioning that makes me cringe, because there should be more people questioning that. It's not fair, because we don't have the same legal support behind us. And we deserve just as much legal support behind us. She's gonna have to ask for handouts, but at this point, we need some freaking help.
There's a lot to it, and I wish I was able to be able to muster up words to be able to say everything that be going on in my head, but a lot of time I can't. And the stuff that was said or wasn't been through or what...
Siblings can live different lives. That happens all the time, especially when there's an age gap between you guys. And
the only discrepancy besides that of what I don't even hear much, because I'm not even on the app like that, is I was born in Brooklyn, New York. She was born in Portland, Oregon, at Providence or Emmanuel, whatever those fucking hospitals are. I don't fucking remember.
I'm gonna go grab us a drink.
Can you get it?
Yeah, can
Yeah, get over. Yeah, she was born in Portland, Oregon. She was born in Brooklyn.
No one.
That's the weird discrepancy about whatever happened with that.
So if you you can tell I haven't been as active on the apps because I've been trying to be so careful. They take anything and everything I post to try to spin it, and I've been getting all these warnings on my accounts, and I know they love to hear that. But I put a lot of work into these accounts, into social media being a thing for me, and I don't care for the get a job bullcrap because it is a job. Social media is a legit.
He talked about old coworkers who still remember him, managers who value his work, and how he's not planning to quit his gig jobs but simply wants to better things with another income stream. It was bizarre, like he was auditioning for a job interview while his relationship burned to the ground. Stephanie, ever the dutiful partner, chimed in, noting how grocery retail is the one job he's consistently mentioned throughout their relationship. She framed it as a perfect fit, as if their life together was just one happy plan moving forward. But the disconnect was jarring. Here they were, in the middle of a public crisis, and Drew was waxing poetic about flipping stores around like some retail superhero. It was a deflection so blatant it felt like a slap in the face, not just to Stephanie, but to everyone watching. The real tragedy, though, is what this says about Stephanie's loyalty. It's not just devotion, it's denial. A painful erasure of her own self-respect played out for the world to see. When a woman ties her identity so tightly to a partner who doesn't reciprocate, it's not just sad. It's a public dismantling of her worth. Stephanie's clinging to a version of Drew that doesn't exist, and the more she defends him, the more she loses herself. The Drew's side piece account keeps dropping receipts, each one a nail in the coffin of their perfect couple facade. Yet she's still out there fighting a battle she can't win. It's a reminder that loyalty, when misplaced, can become a trap. And watching Stephanie fall into it is like witnessing a slow-motion heartbreak. Honestly, it's enough to make you want to reach through the screen and shake her, but all we can do is watch as she learns the hard way that you can't save someone who won't even try to save themselves.
Social media is a legitimate job for a lot of people. Oh my god, she's stupid. I am a normal person with anxiety, and this situation has not been fun to freaking deal with. I feel like I'm carrying around a lot of Drew's past that doesn't have anything to do with me, and it's affecting me in ways that should not be affecting me. Like, mind you, I don't even get a voice in this courtroom, so what? That doesn't make no sense. Kiss my back.
Oh, and I guess to clarify the whole work thing, I did get hired. Night was a nightly position, foreman, whatever they call it now.
Right,
and I got my. I'm not going to tell how much it is, but I got my drinking pay back because I worked there all that, 11, 12 years.
You are as a worker. He's not some lazy.
I know.
Piece of crap.
I'm not happy about going back, but there's people there that know me, so that makes it. I guess that makes it easier, but it's whatever. But yeah, 32 hours, which is
family, so.
Technically full time, but I'll also be doing gig work on the side.
Right. And do you feel comfortable talking about, just to set that straight? That will immediately be, child support will immediately be garnished from that W-2. And that's not anything either of us want to stop. It's going to happen, and that's perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, I never fought it before. I never fought it before. Oh, people,
they think that we've been fighting it deliberately. Deliberately, because that's just how she
I never fought it for years. I never fought it. I just let it get taken out. Whatever garnished got garnished, and then whatever got taken out of back pay taxes got taken out of back pay taxes. Last time I did taxes, 13 and grand got taken out or something like that. 11, 13, something like that, and it made the balance to zero.
Yeah, that's never been something. I mean, believe it or not, like, we've been open about it. We've admit that we could have done things. Anybody could have done things, make better choices in their lives. We will fully admit we could have made better choices that maybe we wouldn't have ended up in this. Yeah, but also going through a mental breakdown and having that period of time where he just needed to come back and breathe. I don't fault anybody for needing some mental time and needing some space. And he gave me that space when we first got together because I wasn't really in the best mental space either. And I mean, people are gonna be like, oh, we can use that too. You know what? Use whatever the frick you want. We're normal as human beings. Drew and I both have nothing to hide. All of our skeletons are not in our freaking closet. They're out for y'all to see. And we don't have the amount of lies that are out there as well, though. That's where it's like, it's just getting out of hand. To create an additional account where you're going to sit there and try to make some text message thread look legitimate. And the two people that are
stuff too.
Yes, and the two people that are confirming it happen to be what? I call it out. and my iCloud gets hacked the next day. Mind you, the second time that my iCloud got hacked was the first day of the custody hearing. And I got a weird suspicious text message from someone saying, got you, I got all your crap. We're gonna take this and use this today. And I was like, what? I blocked that energy right away because I'm like, okay, this is just some troll who happened to get a picture of my phone number somewhere. I get weird suspicious phone. Who actually sent that message to begin with and what was going on, I would have been a lot more careful about saving that information, saving that text message. I'm just not expecting people to take it to this extent. But then when I see it happen again, right after I call you out on something, we don't got any of the same resources. We should have somebody on our support team as well who's helping us in that courtroom. Me and Drew are not law smart. We need that kind of help. Something just blew into my freaking eyes.
What began as a bond built on love and trust has morphed into something far bleaker, a heavy, sorrowful spectacle that's almost too painful to watch. Stephanie Jenkins is a woman who's been publicly humiliated time and again by the very person she keeps standing up for, and yet she clings to him like he's her lifeline. This is the same Drew who slammed a door in her face during a live stream, not even pausing to consider how it would look to thousands of viewers. The same Drew who, mid-broadcast, dumped their kids on her lap, shirking his parenting duties and forcing her to cut her stream short in a flush of embarrassment. And now, with the weight of cheating allegations hanging over their already fragile relationship, he can't even muster the basic decency to say, "That's not true." His silence isn't just a lack of words, it's a refusal to show up for her, a glaring sign of a man who's emotionally checked out. Yet Stephanie stays, explaining away his behavior, rationalizing his silence, twisting herself into knots to make this chaos seem normal. She's not just defending Drew, she's defending a version of their life that's slipping through her fingers, a mirage of stability she's desperate to believe in. It's hard to gauge how much of her self-worth is left after this relentless cycle of public shame. What once looked like a woman fighting to hold her family together now feels like someone clinging to an identity that's crumbling under Drew's indifference. She's lost in his mess, drowning in a sea of excuses she tells herself to keep going. Her loyalty isn't a testament to her strength, it's a sign of her fear, a fear of what happens if she stops playing the role of the devoted partner. She's not just protecting their relationship, she's protecting an illusion, a fantasy where love still exists in Drew's silence, where his apathy is somehow innocence, where their family can still be whole despite the emotional abandonment staring her in the face. The saddest part? She's not just fighting for Drew. She's fighting to convince herself that this is just a rough patch, not a neon sign that he doesn't care. The question lingers. Did Stephanie know about Drew's betrayal all along and choose to hide it, shielding him to preserve the life she's built? Or is she so deep in denial that his silence, the loudest red flag of all, hasn't shaken her awake? Has she grown so accustomed to excusing his disrespect that she no longer sees it for what it is? Either way, this isn't just TikTok drama or juicy gossip. It's the raw, public unraveling of a woman who once had a voice, now suffocated by the weight of her own loyalty. She's defending a fantasy where love means standing by someone even when they offer nothing in return, where silence is innocence, even when it drips with guilt. Most tragically, she's holding on to a dream of a united family, even as Drew's actions scream abandonment. Walking away would mean admitting she's been wrong, that all her sacrifices, all her effort, were for someone who never planned to meet her halfway. That truth is heavy, and sometimes denial feels like the only safe harbor. This whole saga is a gut punch, a reminder that loyalty, when one-sided, can become a prison. Thank you all for watching this heartbreaking story unfold. Your support means everything. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay in the loop as this drama continues. And don't forget to check out the other videos popping up on your screen right now. There's plenty more where this came from. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.